In the final century of the Roman Republic, when corruption poisoned the Senate, armies rose against their own people, and ambition burned brighter than law, there emerged a man who would forever change the course of history. His name was Gaius Julius Caesar. To some, he was Rome's greatest general, a hero who expanded her empire and lifted her people. To others, he was a tyrant, an enemy of the Republic who hungered for a crown. His story is one of brilliance and betrayal, of power gained and power lost, of glory that echoes through the ages. This is the rise and fall of Julius Caesar. Caesar was born in 100 BC into the ancient patrician family of the Julii. Though noble in blood, his family was not rich, and Caesar grew up in a Rome divided between powerful senators, corrupt oligarchs, and populist leaders who stirred the people. His uncle by marriage was the famed Gaius Marius, a general who reformed the Roman army, opening its ranks to the poor. From him, Caesar learned that soldiers' loyalty could outshine that of senators, a lesson that would shape his destiny. But Caesar's early life was marked by danger. During the dictatorship of Sulla, when Rome was torn apart by civil war, Caesar was targeted as an enemy of the regime. Stripped of his inheritance, ordered to divorce his wife Cornelia, Caesar refused. Defiance nearly cost him his life. Only through powerful friends did he survive Sulla's purges. It was a narrow escape that taught him that in Rome, survival required both courage and cunning. As a young man, Caesar served in Asia Minor, where he proved himself fearless in battle. Legend tells of him winning the Corona Civica, Rome's crown for valor, after saving the life of a comrade in combat. But perhaps the most telling episode of his youth came at sea. Captured by pirates, Caesar was held for ransom. When his captors demanded 20 talents of silver, Caesar laughed and insisted they ask for 50, for he was worth far more. During his captivity, he treated the pirates as his subordinates, even joking that once freed, he would return to crucify them. When the ransom was paid and he was released, Caesar made good on his promise. He raised a small fleet, hunted down the pirates, and had them all executed. It was a glimpse of his audacity and his ruthless will. Back in Rome, Caesar entered politics. He quickly mastered the art of persuasion, charming the people with his speeches, dazzling them with grand public games, and winning loyalty with debt relief and reforms. He allied himself with two of Rome's most powerful men, Crassus, the wealthiest citizen in the Republic, and Pompey, the celebrated general who had crushed rebellion and brought glory to Rome. Together, they formed the First Triumvirate, an unofficial pact that dominated the Republic. Caesar gained the consulship, and through bold maneuvering, secured for himself the governorship of Gaul. It was in Gaul that Caesar would achieve immortality. For 8 long years, he waged war across the vast, wild lands of modern France, Belgium, and beyond. He faced tribes that fought with ferocity and unity, yet time and again, his strategy, discipline, and charisma brought victory. His legions adored him, for he shared their hardships, sleeping on the ground, eating their rations, calling them comrades. Through loyalty and brilliance, he forged an unstoppable army. His commentaries on the Gallic Wars, written in clear and powerful Latin, told the tale of his triumphs. He defeated the Helvetii, drove back Germanic invaders under Ariovistus, and crushed the Belgae. But his greatest test came against Vercingetorix, the young chieftain who united the Gallic tribes against him. At Alesia in 52 BC, Caesar faced his most desperate challenge. Vastly outnumbered, he built walls encircling the city, and walls facing outward to defend against reinforcements. Besieged from both sides, Caesar's legions fought with unmatched discipline. In the end, Alesia fell, Vercingetorix surrendered, and Gaul was Rome's. Caesar had doubled the size of the Republic and secured his place as one of history's greatest commanders. But back in Rome, envy and fear grew. Pompey, once Caesar's ally, now turned against him. The Senate, jealous of his power and glory, demanded he disband his army and return as a private citizen. For Caesar, that meant disgrace and likely execution. He had a choice: submit to the Senate's will or seize power by force. In January of 49 BC, At the banks of the Rubicon River, Caesar made his decision. He looked at his legions, at the waters before him, and declared, "The die is cast." With that, he marched his army across the Rubicon, violating Roman law and plunging the Republic into civil war. Rome was thrown into chaos. Pompey fled to Greece, gathering an army of loyalists. Caesar moved swiftly, seizing Italy, Spain, and then turning east to face his old ally. At Pharsalus in 48 BC, the two men clashed in a battle that would decide the fate of Rome. Pompey commanded a larger force, but Caesar's tactics, discipline, and the loyalty of his veterans carried the day. Pompey fled once more, this time to Egypt. There, he was betrayed and murdered, his head presented to Caesar as a gift. Caesar wept at the sight, mourning not only the man but the republic that had been destroyed. In Egypt, Caesar found both danger and opportunity. He was drawn into the struggle between Cleopatra and her brother for the throne. Cleopatra, radiant and cunning, became his ally and lover. Together, they restored her to power. Their union produced a son, Caesar Ion, a living link between Rome and Egypt. Returning to Rome, Caesar continued his conquests, defeating Pompey's supporters in Africa and Spain. One by one, his enemies fell, until no rival remained. He was declared dictator for life, the master of Rome. But with power came fear. Caesar enacted reforms, redistributing land, reducing debt, expanding citizenship, and introducing the Julian calendar. To the poor, he was a savior. To the Senate, he was a threat. A man who sought not to lead the republic, but to crown himself king. Rome had driven out kings centuries before, and the idea of monarchy was hated above all. Whispers turned to plots. Conspirators gathered in shadowed rooms, men who had once been Caesar's friends. Chief among them was Brutus, whom Caesar loved like a son. They convinced themselves that killing Caesar would save the republic. On the morning of March 15, 44 BC, the Ides of March, Caesar entered the Senate chamber. A group of senators surrounded him. At first, daggers flashed from their robes. He fought back, but the blows rained down. Stab after stab pierced his body. When he saw Brutus among them, legend says he uttered, "Et Brute?" And with that, he fell at the base of Pompey's statue, lifeless. The conspirators believed they had saved the republic. Instead, they unleashed chaos. Rome erupted in fury. The people mourned Caesar as a hero, and his assassins fled for their lives. In the years that followed, civil war raged again, until at last Caesar's heir, Octavian, later Augustus, rose as the first emperor of Rome. The republic was dead, and in its place stood the Roman Empire. Julius Caesar had dreamed of uniting Rome, of bringing order from chaos, of creating a legacy that would endure for all time. In death, he achieved what he could not in life. His name became immortal. Caesar became a title for emperors, echoed centuries later in the words Kaiser and Tsar. He was more than a man, he was an idea, a symbol of ambition and destiny. This was the rise and fall of Julius Caesar, Rome's greatest general, its most brilliant leader, and its most dangerous son.